Another story that's very interesting is that Governor Gavin Newsom is learning there's bees in the trap when you mess with Nicki Minaj. Right? You've got Nicki Minaj going after him. So, here's what happened. Governor Gavin Newsom is now defending trans kids in sports. Did an interview with Ezra Klein. Listen here.
But we didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. It was
position being that
I don't think it's fair. I want to see trans kids. I'm a trans.
And what he's saying is that he wants to see more mentally ill and physically sick children. He wants to see more children abused so they can be, because this is the product for a lot of children of abuse. This is the product of also social contamination, confusion, which also leads to anger and not being able to adapt in society. And ultimately, this leads to suicide. These trans kids he's referring to, they don't live to be past 34. Most of them go into deep depression. They become mentally unstable after the surgeries. I wonder if people even understand what is required to, what is gender affirming care? If you start giving them the puberty blockers young, they'll develop a micro penis if it's a man. That means even if he changes his mind and wants to grow out of it and become an adult later and have a family and children, he can't. When he's not able to perform sexually and he sees what happened to him, the depression alone is what causes a lot of the suicides that we see in the public population. To hear, now he's rare, to see someone with his platform, his stage, and his political position to come out and say something so disgusting, vile, something so idiotic and sick. It's disturbing, but it's because he's desperate. They're desperate. They're hoping that the sickest people in our population that target children will back him. The problem is we don't know how many people are out there that are attracted to children and that will prey on these confused and mentally ill kids. It's an entire industry, not just in the medical, but in trafficking. But when we talk about medical, you got to think about it. These procedures are 15, 20, 30,000, but it's also the aftercare, buying dilators, paying for medication. They have a device that has to keep the wound open because you're trying to convince other sick perverts that it is a female sexual organ, but it's really just an open wound on a male's body where his genitalia has been removed. The mental anguish and the breakdown that happens when these kids become adults and one day they realize when they wake up that they will never have children. They will never be parents. They will never get married. They will never have a nice, whatever normal life is. All of these different aspects lead to depression, suicide, death. This entire agenda. So when I see somebody like Gavin Newsom, this piece of living garbage, this slicked back scumbag, saying he wants to see more mentally ill children, I would go as far as saying this is a terminal illness because they do not survive this. You got to think about it. When they're trying to create the fake female sexual organ, they use pieces of your lower intestine where your feces passes through. When that wound eventually closes, what happens is the fecal matter gets into your blood and it causes an infection, staph infection, and you pass away. See, they don't tell you what happens through those surgeries. They don't tell you about a dilator. They don't tell you that you lose your organs. So you can't feel anything. Even if there's some pervert on top of you huffing and puffing, you feel nothing. You're no longer there. That's why when they tell you, oh yeah, they're dead naming, they have a new name, you can never change your gender. 100% of gender surgeries in all of human history have failed. They're a 100% failure rate. So when you see Newsom talking like this, he is trash, and he should not be anywhere near anyone's office, and definitely not even considering a presidency. But let's finish.
There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for the LGBTQ community. But you have to accommodate the reality of those whose rights are being taken away as we advance the rights of the trans community.
There are no rights being taken away. The only right that I'll talk to you about it. The only right that they feel they're losing is the right to have sexual access to children without being prosecuted. Now, in California, they have changed the laws. Instead of speaking to the gay community about changing their culture about targeting children, they passed legislation to change the law. Scott Wiener of San Francisco. The law is Senate Bill SB 145. Look it up when you get a chance. And what it did was it decriminalized pedophilia. So if you're a 50-year-old man and you're caught with a 14-year-old boy, if the boy says he's gay and you're gay, you no longer have to register as a sex offender. So you're not on that list. Because what they argued was that the sex offenders list disproportionately targeted the LG community. So instead of, again, talking to the other members of your community and saying, hey, only have sex with adults, instead of making them understand that, they changed the law. The only thing they're feeling that they're losing is in other states. They thought that was going to happen around the country. Trump came into office. Charlie Kirk used to talk about it, and everything got reversed. So when they say losing their rights, the only right they lost was, they thought they had a right to have sexual access to children without being prosecuted.
There's the fairness of athletic competition.
But that didn't sit well with Nicki Minaj, the rap star, who has gained so much notoriety for first speaking out to defend Christians in Nigeria, thanking the president for standing up for that issue. Then the memes that she's been doing with Vice President J.D. Vance. And now she's going after Governor Gavin Newsom, posting this on X, saying he, being Newsom, thinks he's Tom Cruise. Only difference is his next mission is impossible. He should get another leading role. Another one. Oh, Gabby Poo, it only gets worse for you, buddy. It's the end of the road for you, my love.
So what she said is that Gavin Newsom is, in her eyes, and I think a lot of people will say he's pretty good looking guy. And she's saying he's gotten away with everything because he's so, hot. And that's what she said. And that because of that, he thinks he can get away with this and stupid policies, and he thinks he's going to win. And she says this policy of promoting trans is the wrong policy. What we want is healthy, happy kids. And clearly this trans thing is not an indication of a healthy mental state for your child. We should not be trying to get more trans kids. And frankly, it's a really weird platform to run on. It's so like 2020.
Well, the thing is, his platform is anyone that feels as if they are marginalized by white people. Even though he's a white man himself, he now has to align with everything that seems to be against white. The way people look at white is pro-family, pro-husbands, pro-children, pro-marriage, anti-abortion, anti-pedophilia, those things. He has to appeal to the opposite of that, because they've just passed different laws where they said they will be a sanctuary state for trans kids, meaning you could kidnap someone's kid in another state, bring them to California, say that you're there to get the kid trans surgery, and they will shelter you, and the police will not assist law enforcement with finding you and bringing you back to your parents. It's a sanctuary state, the same way it's a sanctuary state for illegals. For him to promote this mindset on the children of others, but he's making no efforts to trans his own sons. So it's for them, but it's not for him. It's all a scam. It's a ruse. He's literally using everyone. Why do you think he keeps setting up commissions to study reparations? There will never be a time where they're going to say, you know what? Even though just because of the color of you, just because you have a really good tan, I think maybe somebody might have been enslaved, God knows however long ago. Here goes some free money. We're going to take it from other people and give it to you. That time will never come. But what they'll do is they'll dangle it in your face to get your votes because they know you're a low IQ voter. You go for the lowest hanging fruit. They know how to manipulate you. So what they do is they just tug on your heartstrings, they dangle stuff in your face, and then as soon as you vote for them, all the talk and everything they promise just goes away. He is an atypical politician. Now, only since the emergence of people like Trump do now people expect you to make good on your offers. But he's not going to be able to make good on the reparations argument. He made an offer for reparations. He's not able to make good on it because it's illegal. It'll be unconstitutional and it wouldn't make any sense. Nobody alive today was a slave. And you can't give somebody else something on behalf of someone else. People keep bringing up to me, oh, Rico, you say that about reparations, but what about this group? They're alive. The Holocaust, yeah, they were alive. The tribes, the people in those tribes alive. The Japanese internment, yeah, those people are still alive. So you can give them money if you owe them as individuals. Nobody's coming back and saying, hey, back in 1650, your great-great-granddaddy's horse and carriage ran over my great-great-great-aunt's foot. And you owe me a settlement for a horse and buggy accident 500 years ago. That doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. But that's what the play is in California. Illegals, blacks, gays, everybody who feels, everybody except people that are white. If he can just capture their minds and bodies to vote for him in California or vote for the next incoming Democrat or vote for him to be president, he thinks he can win. The problem is without the illegal vote, they don't have anything. And the way Trump is shoring up these elections so there won't be any more illegals voting and you're going to need an identification, then they don't stand a chance.
What campaign? I thought we broke the woke virus. We started to uncover how this genital mutilation is hurting kids and the excesses of this trans movement. Why, Charlie, would he think at this moment with so much going on and everybody focused on the economy and on what's happening abroad? Why is he saying that this trans policy is where he's going to...
especially when you consider that this comes after he tried pandering to Charlie Kirk in that podcast where said, I'm against having biological males playing in female sports, but I don't hate trans people or something like that, which of course, that's like the position that any normal, rational person would have.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And that's the thing. I'm so glad I'm not on Fox or anything right now because there's only so much these people can say on television. Me, I can sit here and just be honest. The truth of the matter is this. Gavin Newsom is, again, he's an atypical politician. He says whatever he has to say at the moment. When he was with Charlie Kirk, he says he loves trans people, but he doesn't want to see them playing sports. He does an interview with someone else. This is the interview he just did with someone else. Actually.
We didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this.
By the way, the reason he sounds like RFK Jr. is for the same reason RFK Jr. sounds that way. He's vaccine injured. See, I was living in California when he first took the vaccine and he disappeared for like damn near 3 months. He was so sick and reports are he almost died, but they were able to stabilize him and he recovered. But he's physically injured and you're able to hear it in his voice that there's something wrong all of a sudden after he took the shot. So just FYI, that's a little bit of history for you guys.
But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. It was
position being that
I don't think it's I want to see trans kids. I
want to see trans kids. Again, like you don't know what it takes to be a trans kid. Mental illness, abuse, confusion, gender dysphoria. All these different conditions lead to an unhappy adult that's not going to live very long. And you want to see more of it. You don't have a trans stepkid. You have a confused stepkid that maybe joked around and said, Mommy, I want to be a girl today. Mommy, I want to be a boy. They're fucking kids. You don't take them literally. You're their parent. What if your kid says, hey, Mommy, I think I'm Superman. Can I jump off this building? What are you going to do? Put a cape on them and let them fucking fly out of the window, you idiot? They're children. They want to eat ice cream all day. You're going to let them do that too? You know, these people are sick. They pick and choose when they want to take kids seriously and verbatim listen to them. But see, Dio, this other piece of shit that is a black Democrat, he's a clown that I can't stand for years now. He has severe TDS. He's like a Dr. Umar. And the only reason people love him is because they love Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar talks bad about white people. D.L. Hughley talks bad about white people. So their audience just claps. They don't care if what you're saying is idiotic. They don't care if you're a pervert. But this is what one of Nicki Minaj's critics had to actually say. Let's see here. This is what he actually had to say about Nicki Minaj. He literally came on to stick up for this.
D.L. Hughley. Listen to him.
I can't tell people what to post or what to say. But Nicki Minaj damn sure needs to stay away from anything, posting anything about kids, trans or otherwise. She supports a dude that is on the Epstein list 1,000 times. She's actually married to a registered sex offender, a pedophile. She shouldn't be able to watch Jason Kidd or listen to Kid and Play or New Kids on the Block. Hell, she got to walk around the aisle with Cabbage Patch Kids on her. And she damn sure should stay away from Sour Patch Kids. And it ain't Governor Newsom Nicki needs to be worried about. It's Chris Hansen.
We all know Nicki been...
Which is crazy because D.L. Hughley has a kid himself.
So you say all that about Nicki and her.
So D.L. Hughley has a daughter. And he didn't say anything about Chris Hansen when he found out his best friend was molesting his own kid. So you're sitting here giving advice to Nicki Minaj, who actually went at Newsom because he was promoting creating more mentally ill kids that are harming kids. And you want to make the hill you want to die on is insulting her. But here you are, your own daughter came to you about being abused by your best friend, and you didn't do anything about it because you said you liked them. And you think that you're the moral compass people should listen to. You think you're in a position to give advice. You're trash. And you're proof that you're trash. And anybody that supports you, knowing this is in your history, trash.
Husband with his rape charges, and they need to be looking out for Chris Hansen. Did you tell your best friend that was molesting your daughter behind your back, and she told you and you ain't believe her, you went against her? Did you tell him that? Did you tell him he need to be hiding out for Chris Hansen, buddy? I doubt it, you donkey.
And that's the thing. Everybody has criticism for everybody else, but they don't apply it to themselves. This is D.L. Hughley literally admitting that his friend was abusing his daughter and he didn't believe her.
Clinic, he told me about life. And he also was raping his daughter the whole time and went to jail. So to me, he's always going to be the dude who did. Everybody do it. How come when people do stuff like this, they're always above reproach, nobody ever believes them, and then it's always a lot of it. And it's always, and the reason it hits home to me is because my youngest daughter said something that happened to her, and because it was somebody I like, I didn't believe her.
This punk LGTB fake black dude, he literally just still referred to the guy as somebody he liked. He should have had nothing but anger and vitriol for this person right now. But instead, he still referred to him as a guy he liked, like it's no big deal. Your youngest daughter, your baby girl, they're sitting here and they're talking about trans kids. They're not necessarily talking about girls that want to be boys. even though that's also impossible. The sick part is they talk about boys wanting to be girls because that involves mutilation and surgery. Everything about it is carnal. It's just sick. And I know the details of it, and it'll make you vomit. That's why I really try not to go into details of it. But they, again, you can never change your gender. And even playing into such a sick fantasy is detrimental. And to talk kids into it instead of out of it, it's horrible. And listening to him literally admit that he couldn't even protect his own daughter, but yet you want to talk about Nicki Minaj? It's like, do these people not have any self-awareness at all? Let's listen to it again.
There's a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And it's always, and the reason it hits home to me is because my youngest daughter said something happened to her, and because it was somebody I like, I didn't believe her. Mm. And I'll never get that back. She'll never, I'm supposed to protect her, and I'll never get that back that she told her father something, and he didn't do nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Because it was inconvenient. So I could see how that could play. Mm-hmm. Right. And there's so many everybody want.
Listen here, DL.
Why women are
down.
I live across man, and why people are like that.
Listen here, down low, Hughley. Every day is the first day of the rest of your life. You could have done something when your daughter told you, and then when you finally believed her, whether it's I don't care if it's 200 years later, you could have still literally done something about it. The truth is, you just didn't care. You have a thing for trans people in general. So, of course, you're going to want a trans kid because that's going to grow up to be a trans adult. And you like these trans adults. And you're not the only one. A lot of these sickos in Hollywood, they have these fetishes and they have these things they're into. DL is no different. That's why he literally, a black dude, I don't even know if he lives in California, came to the defense of sicko Gavin Newsom because he said he wanted to see more mentally ill kids. I'm so glad that the internet is undefeated and we can bring up receipts. This man couldn't even protect his own daughter. He didn't protect his own daughter. He didn't even go defend his own daughter after he found out. And then he says, well, I didn't believe her at first. So what happened when you started to believe her? Did you do anything then? Any charges filed? Did you go hunt the man down? Did anybody have to pull you off of him? See, as an American, as a man, as a father, you would expect somebody to care at least that much. When it comes to your kids, when it comes to your daughter, fear of prison shouldn't be nothing more than an afterthought. Imagine waking up in jail knowing you're going to be doing time, but it was because, well, you dealt with the man that harmed your kid, your daughter, your baby girl, your princess. You're going to sleep good at night. You're not in there for drinking and driving. You're not in there for shoplifting. You're in there for protecting your family. That's how you earn respect. That's what makes you a man. You're worth your weight in salt at that point. He failed his family. And he's literally out here defending others who are failing their families as well. They're failing us all. So just to hear him come out here and try to make I don't even like that's not even a clapback. You're defending the man that's promoting harming children. Like, how can you feel like you have the upper hand at all? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He did nothing about it.
Look at the shit they go through. Yeah. Like when she said on Color Purple, a girl child ain't safe in the family for the men. That's fucking true.
You know what's crazy is that this wasn't even his relative. This was his friend, and a person that's optional that can come over their house. But look at the black woman over there and Sway. They're both just saying, None of them are challenging him. None of them are saying, so wait, what did you do about it? None of them are calling him out about, what do you mean you knew something happened with your kid from one of your friends? Well, how are you still sitting here free? Why aren't you in jail? Shouldn't we be doing this interview over a phone? Why aren't you behind bars? But they're not saying that because these people are cowards. They're weak. They're weird. And the reason they don't call out any of the pushing of the gay agenda is because a lot of them are gays too. They like kids too. So they're not going to be as adamant as somebody like myself who would hunt down pedophiles. You know, that's not allowed where I'm from. It'll never be allowed. And I'm from the United States. It should not be allowed here. But I guess we all have to do our parts as men, as Americans, to protect children. So first things first, you got to speak out about it and bring awareness to it so people know what to look out for. So people aren't afraid to say something. These people have to be held accountable. You can't push or push stuff under the rug or move on. Don't be a DL. If you're going to be anyone, be a Nicki without the Minajes, but just be a Nicki. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes with another video. I just had to share with you the hypocrisy, listening to D.L. Hughley defend a man that's calling for the mutilation and confusion of children. He gets called out and he comes to his defense like a little pet Kunta Kinte. Just fucking pathetic. Share the video, like and subscribe. The Right Wing Rico, the single boyfriend. I'll be back on live shortly with another topic. I'll see you again in a minute. America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.